Yeah, there it is. Welcome back to the Chase Spicer Show. Paul is back with me on the boat today.
Welcome, fellas.
We're going to talk F1. We're going to talk everything under the sun.
That's why we're here.
Did you see that? That was clever.
Cheers.
F1 under the sun. Yeah, so obviously we've done this the third podcast in a row.
It
with
is,
you
yeah.
on. This is insane. Got
Yep.
the Lewis shirt on. But we got madness to talk about right now.
Listen, last time we were here, it was Japan.
Yep.
And some shit has gone down since then.
So, yeah, last time we were talking about Yuki going to Red Bull. Right?
Correct.
And Liam getting sacked.
Yep.
Then he goes back to Racing Bulls.
Yep.
And then
Not much has changed.
Yeah, not much has changed. Lewis wins in China, which I was pumped about the sprint race. So I was like, oh, he's back to the old self. Ferrari issues yet again.
Yeah, again. Doing out. Colapinto in.
Kyle Pinto in. Probably
Williams.
Probably going to get sacked again.
Williams making top 5, then going back down.
Yep. That's pretty.
Mate, there's a lot going on.
Pretty much what they do every year. But no, it's like, yeah, it's crazy because obviously McLaren is 1A, 1B the best. Like with Norris and
by far
Piastri, because he keeps winning. He's got 5 on the year,
100%.
And Lando's got the pressure, obviously, because he's feeling it. Because now
winning Monaco,
Oscar has more, but he won in Monaco, which we'll get into that. I don't think he.
But
I don't think he realized he was going to win.
You're right, but then Oscar then wins the next one, and he's back in Spain.
Back to back. Yeah,
McLaren is tough to beat, I think, right now.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we're coming live from the boat right here. Pretty crazy. It's hot as hell out here.
Far out, it's hot.
Yeah, we were going to say we're going to be live from Monaco, aka Lake Norman.
Yeah.
So, but no, and then you got Max, who kind of dragging Red Bull.
Some of Verstappen, I think is his nickname now.
Yeah, he's son of a
just
bitch,
dropping bombs on Russell. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll get there. We'll get there. But like, I even pulled up like the results because I was trying to go back and see because like, for me, I was trying to remember, but not very good at that these days. So
I think ultimately today we really need to look at the teams. I think that's where most of the change has happened is actually in teams, not drivers. Drivers have pretty much been pretty consistent race to race.
For sure.
The teams have changed though.
Yeah, the teams have definitely changed.
Definitely, not just like the driver lineup, but I think the team has progressed. All of them has.
Yeah.
Look at Spain. You've got Kick Sauber that just made top 5. Like
Insane.
Hulkenberg.
Hulkenberg.
Just coming out of nowhere. So I think there's been a lot of teams, pardon the wind if you can hear it, but there's a lot of change happening on the lower half of the lineup. I think that's what's going to make a big difference in the second half, especially after the summer break. I feel like
agreed.
We've only got how many more races to the summer break?
So they got
2?
Yeah, got Canada next weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
And then there's a 2-week gap.
Mm-hmm.
And then
one more, and then the summer break. So
and then
I think summer break's really going to prove to the world that these second half teams, maybe not Alpine, the French John Deere of Formula One,
drag that tractor across the way. Yeah,
Sauber I think is definitely going to be a good chance to sort of pull some shit together. And Williams have definitely proved themselves in the first half. I feel like there's a couple more changes they're going to need to make this year that'll make them really strong contention.
I agree. Yeah, they got the car for it. I think next year's car is gonna be wicked. But
even Racing Bulls. I think Racing Bulls has really proved that Isaac Hadjar has really pulled himself out of the hole and proved to everybody that he's there. He's right there.
The funny thing is, I didn't even know he was French.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I thought he was Middle Eastern.
I did too, but I thought he was. Then they were like, you see the flag on the car, and I was like, oh wait, maybe that's just. Oh. But then, wait a minute. He is French, so it's like him and Pierre Gasly out there, and then Esteban Ocon. So it's like, oh man, they're getting a pretty good French connection out there.
Right.
But no, it's honestly, I mean, they've kind of shocked me. Honestly, and then you can put Kimi as the best rookie for sure,
100%.
But Isaac's not far behind.
Listen, I think it's close between those two. They do driver of the day. I think they should do rookie of the year. I think
they should.
It's a close one.
I think a little incentive for that.
Oh yeah. I think that's a great idea. But yeah, I mean, Kimi's proved himself race to race.
Yep.
He can definitely get into Q3.
Agreed.
But Hadjar's right there. Hadjar's been in Q3 just about as many times as Kimi has. So, I think there's a lot to look at in the future of, rookies. And Alpine, with everything that's going on at the moment, they're talking about pulling Colapinto from what I've been listening to. And, the rookie they've got lined up, I mean, why not throw a rookie in? they can't lose.
Yeah,
They're not. They can't go backwards from where they
can't
are.
go any worse.
They're already last, so
Yeah.
they may as well just throw some sand on the braille and just see what comes out.
Yeah, I mean they might as well. I mean, my God, they've wrecked almost every race anyway. So,
Mm-hmm.
but they, I mean, it was like I think what was it, Monaco whenever Gasly was literally on like one tire that was like up like
Just like
that.
this.
He got a penalty because he was just driving. But I mean, hey, if you can get it across there, but still, I mean,
Listen.
like they're leading a lot of things that are in the negative.
So absolutely.
At least they're first at something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Obviously, you can tell who I cheer for.
Right.
But pretty vocal about that.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, it's like if you look at them though, the rookies they had a strong class. Obviously, some are in better situations than others. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like Kimmy and Isaac and all that. But like Bortoletto, you got to give him some time. You got to give they need to give Jack Dunn a long time. Jack Dunn, what a guy.
But
Did you see his dad? Did you see his dad?
No, I didn't see that.
His dad has been going off on social media
about
about
getting kicked off.
Yeah, well, that, but also that Colapinto's just a pay driver for the time being for 5 races and then getting them out.
Listen, us Aussies, we don't give a shit.
Dude, listen, brother. I mean, if you're
pull it out.
Yeah, if you're paying me $1 million, I'm fine with it.
Damn.
I mean, I'm going to wreck the car. It's going to be more than what the salary is.
For sure.
I'll go out there and do it.
Sure.
I'm good on the F1 games, but not the
yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I feel like it's some of the teams are a lot like McLaren. They're going to have to worry about how they're going to keep both of them because Oscar. I mean, he's showing that he's kind of like, hey man, I might have been your number 2 driver a couple of years ago, but not anymore. You know.
What's it then? Now that
incredible pace by
100%, and it really pushes the pressure onto Lando. Who claims there's no pressure.
Yeah.
But Oscar's proving himself. He's got the best car. He's won how many races out of the 9 that they've
5.
had?
He's won 5, and then he has more career wins than Lando.
He's the
already.
championship leader.
Yep.
He's in a championship car.
Yep.
Lando better pull fingers out.
Dude,
not just one. He's got 3 or 4 that he needs to pull out.
Brother, he's trying, but they even had it, like, you see it on social media last year, like, bottler of the year. He bottles every race, except for the one, I mean, obviously the couple that he's won, but most of the time he's been so clear in front of the pack that, I mean, he really has no pressure there. But, like, you get, you start creeping up when Oscar's behind
100%.
him or Max is behind him or, maybe you had the Mercedes or, maybe even the Ferraris with Leclerc and all them and Hamilton, pushing up. Like, he doesn't do well with pressure.
No.
Honestly. So,
well, I think what would make Lando a better driver is if he could prove himself in tough situations. If he can knuckle his way out, push through a Russell or push through someone else to get to the lead, I think he'd get a lot more credibility in what he does as a driver. And, McLaren might say, okay, well, then you do deserve to stick around.
Yeah,
but,
I think
this is the year that Lando really needs to say, well, no, I deserve my seat. Because, Zach Brown being Zach Brown, he's already got fingers.
Nothing's guaranteed.
He's got his finger in about 4 different pies right now, and I wouldn't be surprised. Hot take. Here we go. Number 1 of the podcast today.
Let's see it.
Russell. I'm sure Zach Brown would put his finger in Russell and say, "Come on over." As weird as that sounds, trust me. As weird as that sounds, I feel like Zach Brown would be like, "Come on over here, Russell." Yeah. As weird as it sounds, I really think that Zach would do it.
Put his finger in Russell's paw.
Maybe 2 fingers.
I barely even know her.
That's right.
No. It's gonna be interesting though, because I mean, I know he's looking at future contracts, and honestly, I think for me, like, my hot take is I think they're gonna choose Oscar over Lando.
Oh, easy.
I think it wouldn't surprise me. Here's the thing: I will say this though, like, if obviously how I cannot stand Max and Red Bull, but he's driven very well this year. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me though, come next year, if they don't reach out and try to get Lando to pair with Max, because here's 2 things that they're thinking of. One, they're like, we can win the constructors every year because we're going to have these 2 drivers. They're incredible pace, proven they can win races. But here's the thing: I also feel like it brings the rivalry, even though they're best friends, but the rivalry and the competition is what's going to supercharge that. 100%. So they're going to be racing each other.
Always.
And they're going to be scoring a lot of points. They're going to be doing all that. But I feel like that would be a bad move, though.
Oh, 100%.
It would be a bad move because what's going to happen? they're going to hate each other by like the 5th race, and they're going to take each other out.
I don't even think it's going to take that long.
Oh,
I think by race 3 that'll be fucking game over.
It'll take like 3 days.
3 days, easy.
Into testing.
But we all know what Max is like, and we know how much of a
dickhead.
pushover that Lando can be. But if Lando can pull his finger out and prove in a separate team, because basically Oscar gets pushed, Lando's going to hate it, Lando's going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
Max and Lando as a team could probably be very, very good.
Yep, I agree.
But like you say, that then puts pressure on also the relationship between the two of them. At the same time, is Lando then getting pushed to be a number 1, or is Lando being brought in as backup, a better Yuki?
Yeah, I think it's that. Honestly, I think he'd be the backup. I mean, they'll let him win some races, out of charity.
Right.
But they're, obviously they're going to prioritize Max. They're going to prioritize the team winning. But
and do we need to talk about Yuki? Like, what happens to Yuki then?
Yuki's in no man's land right now.
Poor bastard. I mean, he proved his colors. Last time we spoke on the podcast, it was Japan.
Yeah.
He's really done really well, but the last 2 races, he's just backed off. I don't know what it is, whether it's the pressure of the car or the team, or the aggression that Verstappen's had in the garage. I don't know, but Yuki needs more.
Yeah, his problem is he started off on the back foot, man. Like it's a shitty situation because obviously they replaced Liam, and then they kind of throw Yuki to the fire, and then it's his home race in Japan.
Yeah,
obviously a lot of emotion, a lot
to prove,
a lot of pressure. Yeah, a lot to prove.
Yeah,
but honestly, man, like I think for him, he's kind of in no man's land right now because he's damned if he damned if he do, damned if he doesn't.
That's right.
So, I mean, but I feel like he's driving okay. I don't think he's. I mean, do I think he's going to win a race? No. But do I think he's going to score a lot of points? Yeah, give him some time. I think so.
I think Yuki really needs to be pushing like top 10 consistently. If he can do that,
he has to stick around.
Horner and all them are going to be. Well, it's not Horner anymore. It's Helmet.
Yeah.
If Helmet
Horner's
really
gone.
wants him to stick around, he's got to be top 10. And Helmet's the type of person that would just switch gears.
I think so.
In a weekend, I feel like. If Yuki can't put in a good qualifying,
he has a bad practice on Thursday. He's gone by Friday.
But without a doubt,
yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of people in that Red Bull funnel that need to go through and be like, "Yep, you're in."
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I feel like, and then touching on Horner, I mean, getting an interview with Ferrari. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, but honestly, that's a bad deal all around. Especially, he's guilty. Let's be honest. He's guilty, but they're gonna sweep it under the rug.
100%.
Yeah. Shout out P Diddy, I guess.
Yeah.
about the same. Him and Horner, same people. No, that was bad. Sorry. But no, I mean, like honestly, like I don't see that a fit. I don't think that's a fit for Ferrari. I don't think they should even entertain that. I mean, I get it. You can take an interview, whatever. I mean, but still. What are we doing here?
Yeah, but when you're struggling like you are with Ferrari, you shouldn't be scraping the barrel. I
love Fred, but he's not the answer.
Fred, he's a good initiator, and I feel like that's what he's been really good at initiating Charles and getting Lewis in, and that he's getting the ball rolling. But I think he really needs to work on, as a team principal, making sure that the ball is continually rolling or even faster than the pace it started at.
Yeah, I agree, and that's like the thing though, because like with Fred, like he's a cool guy. He's a fun-loving little fella.
Yeah,
short little fella.
Yeah.
But no, he's like
short king for life.
Short kings for life, baby. Over here, praise God. No, he they don't really have a strategy. It's kind of like, we'll figure it out by the race.
Yeah.
We'll see how the race is going. And you look at Monaco.
Right.
Like, they were telling Lewis, like, this is our race mate and all that. And then he's like, what are we talking about here? When do I push? And they never told him when to push. They never, you realize they're like, this is our race mate. And he's like 8 seconds down from the lead.
Yep.
So, and growing.
We always criticize Charles as, he's ruined the race, blah, blah, blah.
Charles Percival Leclerc.
But it's got nothing to do with him.
No,
I think, it's the people that are sitting at pit lane, they're sitting in the box. They're the ones that need to make those decisions, and it's proven with Lewis's results.
I agree
that they are the ones that need to put more work in than the drivers. I feel like if they can't
and they haven't though. That's the thing. Like they have like an idea of what they want to do and all that going into race day, and then they get to race day, and it's like, oh, I just shit my pants. You know, I
But
don't
the
know. I don't
car's
know what to
there.
do.
I feel like the car.
No,
The
pace
car's
is there.
there.
The
The
pace
pace is a
there.
top 5 car.
For sure.
But I think it always comes down to strategy. That's what wins races.
Yep.
That's what gets you the points.
It's the intermediate details. It's the intermediate details that they're not paying attention to that are important.
100%. And if you can't pull the team in, and Lewis proved it.
Yeah.
You know, he's made multiple comments over multiple races. It's not just Monaco.
I feel bad for him, man.
It's not just Spain.
I really do.
You know,
not because he's my favorite driver. I feel bad for him.
The problem, right? And you know, no driver should have to go through that amount of frustration on a race because you know they want to win. They're all 20 drivers that are in a car.
Yeah.
They all want to friggin' win.
Yeah.
And you know, it's
well,
more obvious.
Next year.
Well, 22 next year. But you know, Lewis is showing that there's a lot of holes in that Swiss cheese back in the red suits.
That's right. That's right. And it's glaringly obvious now.
100%.
Going into Spain last weekend, and he's like, dude, this is one of the worst races of my life. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, he scored points, but he's like, you know, strategy, of course, going in with tires and stuff. You had the safety flag come in, or the virtual safety flag.
Right.
And then, you know, everybody's kind of double stacking, getting their drivers out there, except for maybe a couple teams that obviously didn't work out for them, but they're bottom feeders anyway. But
right.
But, like, you know, Ferrari was like, they had the pace, but then you do terrible strategies and it puts you on the back foot. And then, you know, thankfully, you know, I have nothing bad to say about Charles. I've always liked him, even whenever he was with Alfa Romeo, and all that, and kind of finally got his chance with Ferrari. But like, obviously, I feel like, you know, they say they're not going to prioritize one person over the other. They think it's a team. Like if they get close, they need to race. But you know, they're letting Leclerc through. Lewis was fighting him in a couple of laps, and you know, Lewis had the pace. It's just like it came down to tire strategy.
That's right,
and that's the thing. Like, you know, him and his racing engineer are not on the same page, which obviously there's some dialect issues there.
Yeah.
And that's fair because, you know, obviously Lewis with being British and then his engineer being Italian,
right.
there's a gap there.
There is a gap.
But, you know, hot take, though, I will say this.
Number 3.
Hot take. Oh, well, 1 for me, 2 for you.
Correct.
But number 3, I think Bono's there next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I
think Bono's coming to be his.
If Ferrari really wants to make the change that they're looking to do, you know, maybe jump over Horner and maybe get Bono to come in, and you know, the communication and the relationships there with Bono and Lewis.
I agree. It makes sense.
Build strength on a driver's side rather than on a team side. Maybe that's what would make that push that they need.
No, I think it's definitely in consideration. I think it's already laying the groundwork for it.
Yeah,
I think it happened in Monaco.
Yeah.
I think it's just coming out with the reports, but I feel like this has been a long time coming anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would not surprise me, and I mean nothing really does anymore. But nothing would. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me that if Bono's not his racing engineer next year, or if they, you know, kind of go bold and make him a, you know, team principal.
Well, listen,
which could happen.
Well, it would be a step up for Bono.
Yep. Prove himself even more. Yep.
And, you know, the relationship's already there with Lewis. And I think Charles Leclerc, would get along with him really well.
I think so, too.
I think
Charles stays. I don't see him ever leaving Ferrari.
I think Ferrari's going to stay this team for a minimum of 3 to 5 years.
And yeah, until Lewis retires.
100%.
Everybody says he's done after this year or next year. No, there's not a chance, dude.
No.
When you win 7 world titles and you have that, you will still wake up in the morning and you have that competitive edge to be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah,
dog, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You could be the best tennis player in the world, or the best basketball player, or the fucking racquetball, whatever you want to do.
Whatever.
Dude. If you wake up the next morning and you're like, I want to be better than I was yesterday, dude, you never lose that competitive edge. Like, honestly, like,
it's in your blood.
It's in your blood. Like, I mean, even if as a salesperson, that's the same thing I do.
Absolutely.
I mean, do I want to do it some days?
No.
Are there good days and bad days? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, you're gonna have that. But I feel like, honestly, like, you know, I was sitting there when I was watching last weekend for Spain and like Monaco and everything. I was sitting there. I literally said this to myself. I was like, okay, it's bad for Lewis right now.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's not great at the moment. He's still scoring points.
Yeah.
He's still got the pace. He's still got the fucking dog in him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's still a world champion. And you don't lose that overnight. Like, yeah, you're going to have bad races. You're going to get emotional. Shit's going to you're going to have a lot of feelings. You're going to have, happy, joyous moments. You're going to have sad moments. You're going to have shit moments. You're going to have angry moments, which obviously he's experiencing all of those, but every driver does.
That's right.
So I feel like for me, Canada could be another one where
things will move
in the right direction. I mean, it might not all be positive. Let's be honest. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But I feel like once we get to the British Grand Prix, July 4th weekend, which I think is hilarious that they do it every July 4th. Like you lost.
You still lost.
You still lost. America, USA. No, but yeah, I feel like once he hits the home race and he can get back into contention and he can win that race, honestly. Like, obviously,
I really do think he can.
He proved it. He did it not too long ago.
Well, he did it. Well, Lewis won last year.
Yeah.
Mercedes in that brick of a car that they had.
Brother, that thing was a tractor. Like, literally, I've seen John Deere's in my hometown go faster than that.
Right. So, the potential is there. Like you said,
I think
the determination can definitely override the issues that the team can have. Well, he won in China.
Yep. He won the sprint race. I mean,
he won the sprint.
Now, granted, I know it's only 18 laps, but he led the entire time. And it still shows, he got a win.
But it wasn't by just like a 1 second margin.
No, it was a good margin.
It was a stretch out.
And he held off the fastest driver on the track right now, which is Oscar.
Right.
And he held him off.
So, the team on a good day is a hard team to beat.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, you're talking about one sprint race from 10 weekends.
Yeah.
So, that they're not good odds.
No.
They're really shitty odds.
And that's what I was I made a joke the other day. You win the sprint race and there's a lot of things, but with Ferrari, and their strategy and all that, you got to look in the mirror and quote Morgan Wallen's album, "I'm the problem."
Yeah,
because they are the problem. It's they got to look in the mirror and figure out what they want to do. Best case scenario, they're second in constructors right now, luckily, and all that. But I feel like honestly, if they kind of start getting it rolling a little bit, and then like you start. You go into the British Grand Prix before you hit the summer break.
Yep.
And you go in with you have a positive result in those next couple races. I feel like they can really turn the tide.
Oh, absolutely.
And turn into what? I mean, they're not going to catch McLaren. Nobody's going to catch McLaren.
No, but you can still be the best of the rest. And I think the issue that I'm saying is that Ferrari is Ferrari.
Yep.
And they're not listening to Lewis's Ferrari.
No.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
They're not going to listen
to him. Ferrari has always been about, the engine is the most beautiful part of a car, blah, 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 blah. But
aesthetically.
They need to look at what makes a good team is a driver's team, not an engineer's team.
Agreed.
An engineer's team can give you the car.
They can.
But it's a driver's car that gives you a championship.
And that's exactly right, because it's a person that's sitting in the cockpit.
Right.
That's bringing the pace.
Saying that, I think the fact that Charles has been sitting in that car for as many years as he can, and there's been no change, could be more frustrating than the 9 races that Lewis has been sitting in.
And it's tough though, because at the start of the year I was pumped. Like I was like, they're gonna put the car around them and all that. They're gonna put a car around Charles like they do every year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that didn't work out, but like my thing is, man, first of all, bad decision for me to wear all black today. Terrible idea. Obviously, I'm not making good.
We're not living the dream.
I'm not making good strategy choices like Ferrari
with a black hat.
Oh, dude, I gotta get Coyote Joe's on there. I need to get him to sponsor the podcast for sure. But no, I mean, I feel like these next couple races are gonna be critical for them.
Absolutely,
for the rest of the season. And I know that's tough to say. 9 races in, whatever it is, but 24 races a year, you're gonna have to figure something out, and
you got to pull it together,
especially right before the summer break when everybody goes on holiday over there.
Well, that's when engineering starts stepping in, and they go, "Okay, guess what? We got to change this shit.
We got to do something."
And if you're not pulling your finger out before the British Grand Prix, I think it's the last one before it is right before summer break. Yep. By the British Grand Prix, if you are not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, team principal and engineering are having a conversation. They're like, "Okay, guess what? We're doing X, Y, and Z, and if you're not doing the things you need to do engineering, these drivers are not going to get the points that they need for us to sit at 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, and then it could be cases where people get sacked,
right?
And
look at Alpine.
Look at Alpine. I mean, that's
with a whole new friggin'
that's not even
top down.
That's not even a weekly thing anymore. It's a daily thing. Yeah, that's gonna be an
Shout out Briatore.
yeah, shout out to him. Once banned, but he's back.
He's back. He's already team principal.
Yeah, and
6 months in.
Yeah, and then especially on that too. But Aston Martin's in a situation too.
Oh, absolutely.
They're gonna have to get rid of Daddy's boy.
Well, that's the next conversation we wanted to talk about was
where he punched the wall and broke his wrist.
Well,
or hand or whatever he did.
Just because dad's the owner doesn't mean you got a guaranteed seat.
That's what I'm saying. Fernando's got limited time window.
Yeah.
Before he retires.
Yeah. So are they looking for one driver or two?
I think it's two. And bring it in with Newey, and that's a situation where you might want to watch Max there. He could go over there with Newey and turn Aston Martin around.
Max is the one that I think could do
win.
the Lewis of 2024, where if Max does a switch, everything's going to go to shit.
I agree. I think
everything will go to shit.
I think that's possible, and then you're going to see where Red Bull's going to struggle for a few years.
Absolutely.
And honestly, shout out, thank God it happens. But
you're right.
I'm praying for that downfall.
I think Newey has a lot of power over at Aston Martin.
Absolutely.
And based on the relationship that Verstappen and Adrian have, can definitely change sort of the dynamic of Aston Martin, and which is what Lawrence Stroll would want. He can. I know he's friggin' kicking the tables and chairs back in the office because his son is just not pulling his weight, and Alonso's doing the things that he does. But
I will say that
you want two good drivers.
Yeah.
You don't want just one that's kind of just pushing through for the both of them.
And then Daddy's boy.
You need a Max Verstappen, and you need a second that can sort of back him up.
I agree. Sorry.
So I think that's kind of where Lawrence is at. But let's be honest, that Alonso's at a point where
also
he's
Nick Ultra, sign me. Sponsor me, Nick Ultra.
Hey, we're up here, Nick Ultra. We're doing you a favor.
Couple diet beers on a Saturday afternoon, podcasting from the boat. What a time, baby! Look at this.
Every team needs two strong drivers. I think Williams has got a great lineup, but have they got a championship-winning lineup? Maybe
not yet.
We need a little bit more time.
Not yet
to soak on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Alonso makes an announcement.
Yeah.
And then Verstappen's going to jump straight in.
It's definitely going to happen.
100%.
Is it next year? I don't know.
Could be as early as after the summer break.
Yeah, it could be. But I think my thing is everybody was saying 2026 that will happen. I think it's more 2027, more realistically.
Right.
Let's be honest. Friends here. We're talking.
We're friends, right?
Yeah. I think it's going to be 2027 when that happens.
Yeah.
I feel like what will happen is 2026, if Max decides to stay with Red Bull, race another year, or with the rumors where he's got a super license with WEC, and doing all that.
Well, that's the next thing.
That's the next thing. He could leave for a year and come back, but
based on contract.
Based on contract.
He's not stepping away because he doesn't want to be in Formula One. I think he would do it because he needs
to get away. He's going to get away.
He's going to get away.
Yeah.
He needs some mental break.
Yeah.
He needs time with the baby. We're calling it now. But, Alonso could go till the end of 26, and then all of a sudden, we've signed Max Verstappen for 2027.
Yep. And I can see it, though, even though he said he's going to take some time to be with the baby. There's no way he's doing any father work.
Fuck no. He's going to be 24 hours as many times as he can.
He's on the simulator, and the baby's crying in the back. And he's just like, no, thanks. I'm good, fam. I'm going to sit here and hang out for a bit.
He'll do whatever he can to keep that super license, and then you watch Adrian Newey and Lawrence Stroll be in a photo shoot with shaking hands and, welcome to Aston Martin, Max. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We already knew it.
No,
we saw it back in 2025, motherfucker.
We heard about it, and that was the rumblings. But I'll be honest. I told all my friends that watch it. I was like, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the move to make. Right there,
absolutely. That's major chess right there.
But here's the thing, though. Obviously with all these moves, everything going on, a lot of rookies, a lot of moving parts, right? Let's talk chop here.
Yep.
Cadillac coming in next year, though.
Ooh, let's get into that.
Let's get into that. Here's my ideal lineup for Cadillac.
Go.
I think you're gonna get Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas.
And then you got to get
the most majestic mullet. Let's
Brother.
get into that.
Listen, let me tell you something. I've seen some great mullets in my day. Obviously, my hometown, everybody knows. Mullet Central, baby. Praise God. Look at that. But
he's adorning like a really good Australian.
But yes,
Australian mullet. Really
your
good
home
mullet.
country.
Fuck yeah. He's dating that Australian cyclist. She got him on that mullet train. She got him there.
You know she did. She saw one Morgan Wallen concert and said, "Yes,
you're in."
Yes, that's what. But make it blonde.
But make it blonde.
But make it blonde.
So Valtteri Bottas is your number one. Who's your second?
I want this to happen so bad because I feel like the team would be such an ideal situation for both of them.
Yeah.
Give me Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh God, could you imagine Bottas and Ricciardo in a friggin' team?
That's a strong team though, with Andretti's guidance though.
Well,
I feel like it could happen.
There was talk that
or Sergio. Are you kidding me? What's he going to do? He's going to cause some more wrecking every weekend. Than
Listen,
the team.
He's
paying $200 million to even enter.
Cadillac needs a team of drivers.
Yeah.
That can develop a car. They don't have time.
Agreed.
To bring in someone to fill a seat. They are not in a situation. They're already on the back foot. They've basically signed contracts.
Yep.
To be within 12 months to be racing. That's
insane.
Almost unheard of. Even Haas took an additional year on 2014 or 15 they started.
Yep, 2014.
They took an additional year to bring the car up to standard. Cadillac does not have that luxury. Although Andretti knows what they're doing, there's no guarantee that they are going to just sit in there and get top of the rest.
Yeah,
because they're not there.
Yeah,
there's no way.
That's what I'm saying too. Like, I mean, I get IndyCar. He has a lot of success, and other places, which is great. I mean, that's awesome for him. And
right,
but it's a whole different ballgame when you cross over to F1. I mean, not only that, but like the capital part of it, like the money. Coming $200 million just to get a team in. So you're already on the back foot that way. So now you gotta fabricate everything. You gotta get your engine source, which is coming from Ferrari, by the way.
That's right. And that's sponsors to please.
Yep.
There's all those other additional things that we don't see as spectators.
Well, yeah, and they just got their first sponsor. I think Thursday or Friday this week. And Tommy Hilfiger. So Tommy Hilfiger obviously left Mercedes because of Lewis.
Yep.
And obviously Mercedes ends up signing with Adidas with those absolutely abysmal T-shirts they got going on.
Soccer shirts.
But it literally looks like a soccer jersey.
It does.
That's
a
cool.
Soccer jersey.
But yeah, I mean, so they're kind of trying to make the right moves. But it's like, honestly, like, that's great and all, but like, you got to have the team. You got to have the drivers to get you points, get you wins. If you can,
pay $200 million to get the car into the field.
What's another 100?
What's another 100?
What's another 100 to you?
Split it 50-50 and then get a couple of good drivers to sit in there.
Yep.
Listen, I got a hot take. Here's the next one.
Oh.
Valtteri Bottas.
4.
Sebastian Vettel.
Oh.
He just comes
in.
in.
I think he should be FIA president.
Well, listen, I think if he doesn't get in there on Cadillac, he should be FIA.
I think
swear
Ben
to God,
Suleiman should be arrested for terroristic threats against the whole entire race department.
That
dickhead.
Al-Qaeda fucking Osama bin Laden bullshit that he is.
He's a fucking dickhead.
Anyway, moving on. We don't need to talk about him. He's got enough screen time as he's got.
I hope he plays in traffic.
Yeah. So I think if Sebastian Vettel does not get the FIA thing, to have him as a development driver with Valtteri Bottas, you are guaranteed a potential top 4 in 5 years.
I think so.
Guarantee.
Well, that's the thing though. If they plan it right, if they do everything like I'm kind of hoping that they do, because it's gonna be cool to see a Cadillac out there. Let's be honest. Like, it's gonna be 100%. Cool to see, but I don't know, because with the finances and everything, I don't know if it's attainable.
Yeah,
I think it's possible, but I don't know if it's actually attainable at the moment right now. But I feel like that's a good lineup.
I think so. I think Perez is a mistake.
Perez is definitely a mistake because
100%.
He's going to cost you more. He's going to cost you more because he wrecks all the damn time.
You have to pay for him, but then you got to pay for the car that he drives every weekend.
Yeah, guess what happened? Broken gearbox, broken tire.
Break the monocoque.
Yeah, I overcorrected and landed in the gravel beach over here.
Yeah, but I don't think they should run the risk of putting a rookie in. I think that's where Cadillac could go wrong, is having some new kid come in to Formula One. They can't afford to have that sort of development, because that is
They
where
can't do a rookie. They can't do a rookie.
200 million ends up being $1 billion, because the car keeps getting wrecked every
week.
race.
Yeah.
Every race, every 2 races for 3 years straight, because then you're behind.
Yeah. I mean,
don't put Logan in. Don't put Logan Sargent in.
He's not
don't put a Latifi in. You can't be affording to put an American driver in, because although it would be good publicity,
it'd be cool.
You're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, and
Mr. Andretti, listen to me. I could be on your lead team. Putting an American in, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Basically,
even as
an American.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
But no, I feel like where he's proven to be a winner in other racing formats, and obviously F1,
even that young kid from IndyCar,
yeah. So I mean, that's the interesting thing. Yeah, they were talking about Pat O'Ward. They were talking about Huerta and all them, and maybe Newgarden comes over. I mean, they're great drivers. Listen, no offense.
Yeah.
But
there was
you're not going to do anything. You're not going to win any races. It's just basically like throwing a Logan Sargent or a Colapinto or a Jack Dinn into the fire.
There's also a Michael Schumacher that came up with a post that came recently.
Right.
That, Formula One, Cadillac, and Michael Schumacher all ended up liking one another. So
I think Mick would be a good fit, though.
He's got enough experience, but does he have enough to push a team?
No.
No. So he could be a very good reserve driver.
He could be a great reserve driver or a nice cheaper option.
I totally agree. Definitely a good cheap option to say, okay, we need a third to go in on the team.
Yeah.
But is he enough to win a championship or get in the top 5? Nah, sorry, Michael.
It's not going to happen. No,
you're not there yet.
You're not there yet, and you're not your dad.
And unfortunately, you're not your dad.
I'm not your dad.
But,
I mean,
you've had the chance.
But how can you honestly, realistically, friend caps here. Friend cap. Your dad is arguably the best driver of all time. Him and Lewis back and forth.
Yep.
Other drivers, Senna, all the other drivers too. I can only imagine the immense pressure as a child.
Oh my God!
Or then even just like in go-karting, and your dad's winning races like all the time.
Listen, I think, and it's terrible for me to say, but thank God that Michael Schumacher was not in the garage when Mick was driving. Could you imagine?
Especially for the Especially for the Haas with
it would be worse than Jos Verstappen
with Nikita Mazepin.
Oh my God! Michael Schumacher would be definitely telling him to shit.
You have the Russian oligarch as
my God,
as your dad that's just sitting there waiting for you to.
And then Gene Haas standing next to. Oh my God, that company would have just exploded. Michael Schumacher, Gene Haas,
I miss Gunther.
Mazepin.
I miss Gunther so bad. Oh, what a guy!
Listen, Cadillac would be stupid to bring him in. To not bring him in, I mean.
No, I agree. I think he'd be a good team principal for him, but I think Andretti's got. I think he's got his own guys. I think he's got it set up the way he wants.
I think so. I think there's a lot we don't know about because it's been internal.
Oh, for sure,
without a doubt,
for sure. No, that's definitely the case. But it's gonna be interesting to see. And then you see where Otmar. How do you say his name? Otmar. Did you see he applied and got the funding for the 12th team?
Did he really?
Yeah. So.
Damn.
All right, guys. Let's put this into perspective here. You go from 20 drivers to 22 next year. And then the following you go to 24. That's a crowded grid.
It's 20. 20 is a big grid already.
It's a big grid
for
already.
Formula One, that's a huge grid. I don't ever remember 20 being the max.
No, but here's the thing. Now, with that being said, friend caps here. 22 to 24, even from 20 to 22, and then to 24, you're adding more spots to the track, first of all. So that's a lot of maintenance you already have to do.
Yep.
A lot of these tracks on that first turn, that is going to be absolute chaos, because there's going to be so many people trying to make their way in the hairpin,
or just keep position at the first
and keep position in the first, and they're going to take so many. So it's going to be like you're going to have these races where it's supposed to be 20 or 22 or 24 people racers, and it's going to get down to like 15.
If
like 15,
if that 12th team comes in. You watch the accidents that happen on turn 1.
Mm-hmm.
you watch the amount of virtual safety cars that come out, the actual safety cars, the red flags.
Yep.
Because
Same
there's
thing.
2 additional teams that can't afford to keep up with the top 4 teams.
Right.
Your McLaren, your Red Bull,
Very
your
true.
Mercedes, and Ferrari.
Very true.
You know, who are established teams. Those cheaper teams are the ones that are going to lose.
Yeah.
So they're going to be dumping money into Formula One, and they can't afford to keep up. So you're going to have almost 3 tiers. You're going to have the first 4 teams.
Yep.
You're going to have the middle of the pack, and then your bottom 2, 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be insane.
Welcome Alpine to the bottom 3.
It's gonna be right. They're already there. No, it's gonna be insane whenever you see that though. But honestly, I think where they go to the smaller cars next year in 2026, a little bit less in weight. God, that was a tongue twister. Sorry about that. Lesser weight on the car. I feel like you can get a good design out of that, but it's just putting that onto the grid and actually putting that to the test. Because
That's right.
I don't think that honestly, I don't think that they're I'm not expecting Andretti to win the whole constructor championship or anything, but I feel like
he ain't going to be winning Coda
No.
anytime soon. Let's call it.
No, I think they could compete if they get the right driver lineup, but I don't think it's going to be, first year it's going to be like, oh, they're in the hunt,
Well, listen,
Or
if
Otmar.
the first year,
Or Otmar,
if
I
they
don't
have a
think he will be.
year, I'll tell you this now. If Cadillac have a year where they have no breakdowns and no crashes, they are far further forward than I believe they could be. Because I guarantee there'll be races where
They're definitely going to have crashes.
engine blows up,
They're definitely gonna have
transmission
crashes.
blows up,
Yep.
team crashes out, they've got bad pits.
Yep.
The team, there's a lot of teething that goes into a team
Sure.
of that nature.
Sure.
But I will say this, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They've definitely got an IndyCar team that is aware of a team strategy, development, etc.
Well, and they
But
win.
Formula One is a different kettle of fish.
Absolutely.
It's not the same as 300 laps at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
Stuart Haas racing.
It's a different game.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
No, it definitely is. And then, obviously, we watch racing all around anyway, NASCAR or IndyCar or whatever it is. Everybody always say like F1's the grand spectacle. It's the rich man sport. It's
Right.
It's
a pinnacle.
But it is.
It
legit
really is a pinnacle.
And it's just facts. It
Right.
just is what it is. So
Engineered cars, top money. They've
Top-
got more money
top
than
money.
IndyCar. I've had a couple of beers, let's be honest.
I barely even know.
But they're traveling international, so
Mhm.
it's an international sport.
Yep.
IndyCar's an American
Yep.
sport, but sorry to cut you off, but
No, it's
that's
cool.
definitely right.
But and even with that though, like shit, like you break it down and you think about the car alone. Obviously, is expensive. No matter what you do,
Yep.
the team's expensive. The buy-in's expensive.
Yep.
The travel, the cost of shipping all that, and then like the motor coaches, and then shipping the car on not only on tractor trailers, but then you put them on a ferry or you put
Right.
them on a certain thing to get them transported there.
But then what people don't understand is you then have to establish. You've got to build.
Yep.
Everything once you get to the next track.
Yeah.
Halfway as they're breaking down, they're already building the next one.
For the next
week. That
week,
triple header that they just had.
Yep.
The team was already breaking down and setting it up at the next location within 3 days.
Yeah, it's insane.
That is
And
mind blowing.
and it's not cheap either. So you got to think like when you look at all
You've got to have roadies. You've got to have
you have to have
management in there. You've got to have
have
catering.
You got to have roadies. What are they swiping right?
Right.
Pretty much.
Basically.
They're like, oh, let's go to Bumble in Monaco.
Hey.
Can you imagine that though? Jesus Christ.
Listen, I mean, if you're a roadie out there and you want to give us a little spiel on what happens out there, drop us a line.
I was about to say, yeah. Obviously, the pit crew, the pit lane.
Let's just say they're eating well.
The pit lane ladies down there. Oh yeah, they are.
They're eating real well.
So are the drivers. It's just it is a pinnacle. It really is. Obviously, like people I get, like they're gonna say what they want. Obviously, everybody has their preferences.
Yeah.
What race?
Always.
Whether it's NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, whatever it is. But You can't just sit there and say it's not the pinnacle because it is.
It is.
It absolutely is. So
sponsors, money,
yep.
Location.
Location. Oh God, what a time! No, but no, it's gonna be interesting coming up with, because you got Canada the next, which is a pretty fast track regardless.
Yep.
And then I think after that, it might be Bahrain after that, right? I believe.
It might be.
Yeah, I think it goes
After
Canada,
Britain.
and then you have like a week off, and then go to Bahrain, and then they go July 4th weekend is in at Silverstone,
That sounds right. And then 4 weeks off.
and then 4 weeks off. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's 3 more races.
Yeah, there's 3 more races before the summer break. So right now, I'm very interested to see how these 3 weeks go, and not only just for Lewis and Ferrari, but like it's a lot of it's like make or break time for a lot of these teams.
Oh,
Now,
absolutely.
Okay, let's just take McLaren out of it because they're running away with it.
Yeah, they are.
But for Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Williams, those kind of
6.
Those 6 right there, it's make or break time. It's make or break.
There's so much pressure for them before the summer break, and for some reason, Formula One has always given the summer break as a yardstick.
Yeah,
they've always put, well, we need to be here by this time. Well, you've had shit races.
Yep.
Let's be honest.
Williams,
especially, they've had a couple of races where they've just fucked up everything, and then all of a sudden they've
last or Monaco, and then
right. So
last weekend was okay, but still they had bad strategy.
Your target drops, and Aston Martin, they've had their fucking driver pull out because he punched a wall
because he didn't qualify well.
Because he didn't even qualify well.
Daddy's boy.
You can't use the mid-year break as your setup for the rest of the year. There's been teams where
you're downtown Chicago, aren't you?
Right.
Midtown Chicago.
The first half, we still have Vegas and Coda and
Vegas is not
later
in
the
November
year
though. Yeah.
You can't use that summer break as something to look forward to because there's been teams where the second half of the year has been their best in past seasons.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of factors that go into it. So I think the ones to watch are Kick Sauber,
which is going to be Audi next year.
Which is Audi,
yeah.
Because I think Audi, when they step in, there's going to be a big change.
Honestly, they're Audi. They're Audi already. They already. Honestly, by the summer break, it's Audi. Honestly, 100%. It is. But because they're already way ahead schedule on the 2026 car. So it's what are we talking about here? They're Audi.
Basically,
they have a different name right now, but it's gonna be interesting to see. I think. I miss Lotus and I miss BMW. I miss all and I miss those.
The manufacturers, proper manufacturers.
I miss those. But do I think they're coming back? No,
obviously. No, not now.
But having Cadillac and having Audi next year is gonna be so sick. But it would be nice to see if maybe they brought Porsche. That would be cool.
I would listen. I wouldn't be
team.
Oh my God!
You talking
about a pack of Guidos in the freaking pit lane?
Yes. Yeah. You talking about racing bulls? Hey, buddy, listen.
Al Pacino, a little bit of Robert De Niro down there.
This is a Murcielago.
Oh yeah. Could you imagine the marketing if Lamborghini comes out as a Formula One?
It'd be insane. I'd be a fan of their team.
Oh, without a doubt.
I'd be a fan of their team.
I'd be buying merch every week.
even other colors would be bright yellow and black, but I'm there. It'd be a Renault.
It'd be basically Renault.
It'd be basically Renault.
Or Benson and Hedges back in the day, back in Jordan.
But much faster.
Hopefully.
Well, you'd hope.
You'd hope.
Man, they got a little stormy out, but that's all right. Stormy Daniels, shout out.
Sponsor coming in. Come on in.
Join the podcast. No, I'm kidding. No, it's gonna be interesting though. Honestly, right now, Oscar, Max, Lando, Charles, Lewis. You can throw George in there. They're the ones that are hunting to win.
Yeah, oh yeah,
obviously, but they're also the hunted.
Correct.
So, but I think honestly, give it a little time. I think Kimmy's going to be up there for sure. listen,
I mean, he's only 9-10 races in.
yeah, and he's what 18?
Yeah,
Just turned 18.
Yep.
And I feel bad for him because like the last couple of races, obviously, weren't ideal for him with the
Do we need to talk about the fact
finish.
that he brought 30 of his schoolmates to Mercedes
brother
over Ferrari? How did he do that?
brother, and when they were doing it in Italy.
In Italy too. Like, what the hell?
I bet you my man's had such high hopes for that race.
Absolutely.
He's like, all right, listen, I'm going to do top 10. I'm going to get laid by one of my classmates here, and then she went and ghosted him right after it because he did not finish.
Did not finish. Like, what the hell?
She's like, yeah, sorry, I don't deal with losers.
Peace out.
Yeah, see ya. No, I feel like he's got unlimited potential, and I hope that for his sake, they don't do what they did to Lewis towards the end there.
Yeah, I
kind of just put him out to pasture, and we're gonna prioritize Woody from Toy Story.
Right.
Now,
but go on.
I have to say it because like he used to piss me off all the time, saying that he could be close to Lewis or win a couple of drivers' championships or what. No, sorry, pal. Listen, you're on there because you're the Karen of the grid, and you complain about everything. Now, granted,
all people to hit him though, was Max Verstappen.
Of all people to hit him,
Jesus Christ,
borderline violence. But it was so funny though because, all right, listen, everybody knows I can't stand Max, but
right,
it was comical how angry he was out there and just turned into him. Just
freaking went right, completely turned right.
Yeah, it just bumped him out of the way.
Just completely just told him, I'm not happy with this situation and I'm not happy with this decision.
He went from 3rd to 10th in a matter of one move and one turn.
One turn, one corner.
It's incredible, though. It's incredible. But honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm excited to see what happens in the next couple races, and then go to the summer break and kind of like maybe see if like the positives and the negatives and where you can go from there.
Yep.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting.
I think you'll see the biggest change in the top 4 teams.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure,
without a doubt.
And
top 4 teams are the ones where they're going to make the biggest change, and then everything else.
Yeah.
Will happen after the summer break. But before the summer break, this is where they'll start putting some shit together.
But I think Williams is going to be in contention too. I think they're going to get the car right. I feel like, obviously the last couple of weeks has been bad strategy, but like once they kind of get over the little intermediate issues with Alex and Carlos, I think they're going to be fine.
I think so.
They got to prioritize who they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if they're close to each other, like in 11th and 12th, like they were, let them race. Let them race.
Let them go.
Clean race. Let them race. May the best man win.
Don't destroy the team.
Don't destroy the car. Don't destroy the team. Just see what happens. I feel like that's the best idea for them.
Yep.
Give or take, but honestly, I think they're going to be. I think you're going to be in contention for at least top 3.
Easy.
So, I don't know. I think it's very cool. This is a bad idea to wear all black, dude. I'm sweltering. My
hot.
My pants are riding up. This shirt's stuck to me. But
we're on a boat.
We're on a boat. Live from Incommunicado.
Incommunicado.
That's right. Shout out to Jimmy Buffett. R.I.P. What a legend. Yeah. Is there anything else
I think that's pretty much it. I think there's a lot to happen in the next 3 races.
I think so, too.
That's where it's at. I think if we might get together maybe at the beginning of the summer break, maybe we have a chat at the end of the 3 races and we try and organize what's going on.
For sure. And then hopefully we can be in a better results for Ferrari and be with Lewis and Charles and all that, but also kind of see the chaos in between because there's going to be a lot of it coming up.
There's a lot of shit going on.
So,
all right. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
We definitely will see you next time. Thanks for listening in, and we'll chat with you soon.
Yeah, at least we remembered to record this time.
Yeah, we recorded.
We did, finally, but now we're good.
See ya.
See you, everybody. Follow us on social media.